In the headlines, the island's National Security Minister issues a grave warning to armed bandits. Prime Minister Alan Shasney expresses concerns over the continued arrest brewing in Venezuela.
St. Lucia has taken some strong and bold initiatives. One is that clearly we have imposed a visa restriction on Venezuelans coming in. We remain the only country that has done that.
And Herman Gil Francis says a group of individuals intercepted at sea may walk away scot-free.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Lovelace and Amy Joseph.
Good evening. It is Tuesday, the 7th of May, 2019. Welcome to the Hot 7 Nightly News on Flow Channel 117, Kiss FM 105.5 and 105.9, as well as on our free mobile app. Just search for Caribbean Hot FM in the Play Store. I'm Rochelle Gonzalez, standing in for lovely Saint Amy Joseph. Thank you for joining us. A female driver was left in a state of shock on Tuesday afternoon after the vehicle she was driving flipped over with her in it. The reasons behind the incident are currently unknown. However, the woman, who appeared to be the sole occupant of the vehicle, was seen walking around seemingly unhurt. The freak accident occurred at the Chef Harry Drive intersection on the Morn shortly after 3 p.m. We will bring you more on this incident in a subsequent broadcast. The island's National Security Minister issues a grave warning to the individuals involved in a brazen armed robbery of a Chinese restaurant on Monday evening. Herman Gil Francis says it is only a matter of time before the bandits target the wrong individuals and face deadly consequences. The nation was left stunned on Monday night when footage of a brazen armed robbery was released via social media. The incident occurred at Seatown Chinese restaurant along Brazil Street in Castries at approximately 6:42 p.m. In the CCTV footage, two bandits are seen entering the restaurant, which was occupied at the time by a number of employees, two of which were seen in the footage, and two customers, one being a toddler. Upon entry, the first suspect, who was wielding a firearm, walked in with his face on display, only to attempt to hide his facial features whilst inside. The other bandit, who wielded a knife, proceeded behind the counter where he demanded the female cashier to hand over the money in the cash register. Speaking on the matter on Tuesday morning, National Security Minister Herman Gil Francis had this warning for the thugs.
I want to tell these young people that there's a song that says that a lot of the young people that are doing this crime are poor. So I would advise them to sell their guns, bring the guns in and get money for it, instead of using the guns to go and do the nonsense that they are doing there. Because they are going to get hurt. Eventually, somebody is going to bounce up with these guys in a place that they walked in there yesterday and there would have been a trained police officer there or a trained individual. The two of them could have died. And it is not going to end well. They will be successful on one or two occasions, but eventually they will get killed. And it is not worth it. So I'm asking these young persons to stop getting involved in those criminal activities, those brazen acts of criminality, because there is going to be reprisals for them.
Francis said persons who believe that the police are incompetent are wrong. He said once the police lawfully carry out their duties in such cases, they have his backing.
These young men are desperate. Persons say that they don't want to work. Government must put in rehabilitation things for them when they go to Bodley and come back out. But I'm saying, Rochelle, that there are individuals in St. Lucia that don't want to work, and that is all they're interested in doing. They want money easy, and they will use any means necessary. And that is one of the ways that they are doing it. The criminal code and the Constitution of St. Lucia gives the police officers and every citizen of this country the right to defend themselves and to stop crime. And I am telling you that whatever the police officers do, as long as they follow the law, the letter of the law, they will get my support. Okay? Because the law is very clear that the police officers have a right, or they have the permission to use deadly force.
The minister also had a message and an offer to witnesses.
The public see things happening, and there's a word they call it, situers. They see it happening. They will not make any comments. But before the police act, they saw it and they want to give evidence, they want to give information. But if a criminal kills somebody, they are afraid to give evidence because there are going to be reprisals that if I tell the police, the man will come back at me. But who should you be afraid of? The police are everywhere, and yet still, when the police does something, you out there openly saying what the police has done. I am also going to roll out a plan that we want the informants, persons who know people who have firearms, to give that information to the Commissioner of Police or to myself as the Minister, and we're going to compensate them when those firearms are found.
Francis commended the owners of the establishment for installing the cameras and for releasing the footage, which is sure to aid in the task of apprehending the two suspects. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I'm Rochelle Gonzalez. Herman Gil Francis says a lack of security equipment may lead to a group of individuals intercepted at sea to walk away scot-free. There is a need, he said, for advanced resources to be used against advanced criminals. National Security Minister Herman Gil Francis has expressed disappointment in the future outcome of a case which he said could have turned out differently had sufficient evidence been present. Francis was referring to the apprehension of 8 individuals who were found in open waters by the U.S. Coast Guard on Monday. He said perhaps borrowing the tactics of neighboring islands could work as a plus for the Royal St. Lucia Police Force.
There were about 3 or 4 St. Lucians on board a pirogue, and they had gone over to meet with their Venezuelan counterparts. Fortunately for us, the Americans were within the area, and with our intelligence here and the RSS and other organizations, we were able to realize that something was happening. And so with the assistance of the Americans, we were able to capture those 8 individuals. But at the end of the day, all the weapons and drugs were thrown over. I've said that before, like in Martinique, if you are caught in the waters of Martinique and the police officers can say that they saw you throwing the drugs or the weapons about, the magistrates or the judges that they will accept the evidence and you'll get convicted.
Francis said the time has come for the force to begin using equipment as advanced as the criminals.
That happens a lot. They try to intercept them and they throw the drugs and the firearms overboard, and there's nothing that you can really do to them. So maybe we would have to start looking at cameras, videos. So when time the police officers go out there, get some very sophisticated video cameras. So from the time we're approaching them, we can start to film. And at least we can see that the actions of being thrown over. And again, I hope that when that evidence is brought before the court, that we make examples of some of those persons.
When asked about the fates of the apprehended men, Francis said they are untouchable.
We can't do them anything. There's no evidence, and I think that's it. The St. Lucians are going to be brought back here, and the Venezuelans are going to be sent back to Venezuela.
Scot-free.
That's it, yeah. Unfortunately.
As to when the men will be released, this information has not yet been made available. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I'm Rochelle Gonzalez. The government of St. Lucia has echoed its stance on Venezuela amidst the growing tensions gripping the South American nation. A recent act of defiance by President Nicolas Maduro, where he appeared flanked by soldiers calling for any coup plotters to be defeated, incited Prime Minister Alain Chastanet to speak out once more against the sovereignty of Maduro. More from Solange Alfred.
Backed by the full support of the Venezuelan army, President Nicolas Maduro, during the week on May 2nd, appeared surrounded by soldiers outside an army base in Caracas. This showing was a direct threat to opponents, with Maduro issuing an objective to soldiers to defeat any coup plotters, amidst growing tensions between pro-government supporters and opposition forces. Prime Minister Alain Chastanet, at a recent press briefing, addressed the growing tensions in Venezuela and says the continued defiance of Maduro to cede power is taking a toll on the island and its safety.
From what I can see, this is a stalemate in that you have President Maduro, who remains in charge because of the support of the military. You have a tremendous amount of support for the opposition, and the country is the one that's losing. But in the midst of that, the status quo of the numbers of areas that are unmanaged in Venezuela either stays the same or continues to increase. Very easy to bring drugs in now from Colombia and transmit them. So just this weekend, 4 Venezuelans and St. Lucians were caught out at sea. Right? We did not capture any of the evidence. We believe that they dropped it off in the ocean, but why would 4 St. Lucians who left here be bringing 4 Venezuelans back here? And so this is a continually growing issue for all of us.
The issue has the ability to explode into a more volatile situation, says Shasny, who referenced his recent trip to Trinidad and Tobago. He says the sheer number of Venezuelans seeking refuge on the Caribbean island borders on overwhelming.
I'm hoping that it really stays just as drugs and arms, and it doesn't become anything else, because when I went to Trinidad, clearly you're seeing that it's much bigger than that, and that there are thousands of Venezuelans who are coming across on a regular basis and taking up residence in Trinidad, which is now putting pressure on the education system, putting pressure on the healthcare system, and putting pressure on the local security policing system. So my fears are still there. St. Lucia has taken some strong and bold initiatives. One is that clearly we have imposed a visa restriction on Venezuelans coming here. We remain the only country that has done that. We made sure that when we did it, that this was not about politics, this was about security. But getting this regional force in place also will be able to assist us with that problem.
The Prime Minister notes the need to put in place a regional force by the Caribbean Community, CARICOM, which he says should assist with citizen security, safety, and border protection. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Solange Alfred.
Thank you, Solange. This is the Hot 7 Nightly News. Still to come, CARICOM nations are still holding on to hope for peace in Venezuela, and the Prime Minister lays partial blame for crime on teenage mothers. All this and more coming up after the break.